Hi, and welcome back to my studio. If it's your first time here, I'm Julie, the girl with a brush. And today I wanted to do a flip through of my junk journal January journal. And here it is. Look how fat it is. And it doesn't even fold properly. There's lots of things that we could say about it, but I love it. It's so exciting. And if you want to see how I made my journal, I have a video of how I made it that we can link below in the description. And I followed the prompts that were shared by Meg Journals. She did this in collaboration with Get Messy Art. So let's get inside. So in here, I've got a couple of little envelopes. I haven't put anything in them, but I did put the prompts in here so that I could kind of look at what was coming up. So tucked them in. Day 1 was resolution. I also put the prompt on the page. Last year I just put numbers and I kept having to go back and look at the prompts. So I don't really make resolutions because I find that life just gets so busy, and then I'm hard on myself for not completing things because I do what I say. So if you are I do what I say kind of person, maybe you know what I'm talking about. If you're able to make resolutions and keep them, then God bless you. But I just thought that I always make an inspiration board on Pinterest for the year. And this was the first quote I put in my 2024 inspiration folder. That was the year she forgot about time and remembered what it was to fill her days with everything she loved best. So one of the things that I have been trying to do for the last few years is I have been trying to actually have a work-life balance. And my son completed his master's last May and has a job and a house and a car and everything that he needs, and he's doing great. And so it's actually given me a little bit of time to spend some quality time with myself and my husband and to do some of the things that I put off. So I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat. I love my kid. I'd drop anything for him, but you know. All right. Day 2 was a quote. And it was kind of funny because I hadn't looked ahead and I was like, well, I just did a quote, but here we go. I'm an English teacher. I love Virginia Woolf. And I thought that this was a really great quote. In my video for day 2, I talked about this quote and how I picked it for my husband because he's pretty amazing and he edits all my videos and he takes pretty good care of me. And this flower is from some wrapping paper that a very good friend gave me. And I'm using it sparingly, but it just called for this page. And this is one of those punches, you know, for the end of your page that you get. Actually, it's sitting right here. It's from EK Tools. When you punch the end. I love these things. Page 3, this was throwback, and it's so interesting to see how everybody has done throwback because I think everybody does things a little bit differently. And I guess I was sentimental that day because I grabbed a copy of this photo. This is my favorite photo of my son. He was like 8 weeks old, I think, in this photo. Slouched down. I tried to sit him up and he slouched and I took the picture and I just love it. And I filled the page with some of the scraps from the ephemera pages that Meg shared with the prompts and some stickers and stamps. It was a very simple page. The next page, this one is kind of funny because I read it and I know what a tuck spot is, but again, I must have been having a day because I made pockets instead of a tuck spot. So it's okay. I can still tuck things here. I was very proud of my little bunny, my little pile of cookies, and, you know, this little card. There's my baby again, who's not a baby anymore. This was a tag from some socks I bought. I thought that was pretty cool. So tuck spot. I just did this out of vellum. So I've got multiple vellum pockets. Looks like I need to glue that a little bit. All right. Daily log. For the daily log, I decided, again, I am a list maker, but I don't really keep a daily log. And instead, I have this quote on the wall in my craft room, and I love it. It's from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Be silly, be honest, be kind. And I feel like those are things that you should do every single day. So that's my daily to-do list. For day 6, this was memory. And when my son was getting ready to decide which college he wanted to go to, we visited the Colorado School of Mines, MINES. It was started during the gold rush, and they have geology classes, pyrotechnics, you know, where you like can blow up things, the mines, buildings, whatever, but it's morphed into an applied science and engineering school. And we visited it, and for 2 days we drove south of there to Colorado Springs, and we visited the Garden of the Gods. And at one point, my son and my husband decided they were going to run around some trail, and I waited because I was watching this little bird. This is a magpie, and I was watching this little magpie on the fence. So I took a picture of the magpie, and this was the rock formation that was nearby. And this was a little nest that was nestled in some rocks. And this was a picture of the 3 of us at the Garden of the Gods. And in the background over here, off this way, is actually Pikes Peak. So we weren't far from Pikes Peak. So it was a lot of fun. But I always grab maps when we're traveling, you know, at rest areas, because I use them for lots of things. I use them when I don't have wrapping paper. I use them in my journals. So save your maps. Day 7 was stitched. And for this one, I, you know, put down some fun layers, and I cut out a picture of some ferns. So this is an ostrich fern that grows in my yard. And then I just did some little stitching here, and I actually made a pocket. I don't have anything in my pocket yet, but I did make a pocket here, and just some very simple stitching. I thought that this was really fun. And day 8 was neutrals. And for this, I grabbed a bunch of neutral papers and I started to collage. And for those of you that might think that mauve isn't a neutral, in my world, mauve is neutral. I am a purple girl, and so I use mauve as a neutral and other shades of purple for a pop of color. But I just cut out this little bunny, which also was inside of my tuck spots. And I thought that it was so cute that the word flower was showing up on this little book page, that I put that inside of the heart. And, you know, very simple. I think that's the thing that's important here. This is a layer of a napkin. You know, when you pull napkins apart and you have just that white layer on the bottom, I take those and I get out a bunch of stamps and I just stamp like crazy. And then you have pieces of something for later that have a bunch of words on them. So actually I have one here like this. So this one has all words. I have one that has flowers and one that has animals. And it's great when you just need a little something. So I love that. Day 9 was foliage. And if you can't tell that I'm a flower lover and ready for spring, I just don't know. But again, these are all flowers from my garden, and this is the tree that blooms right outside the window of my craft room. And this is Skinny Finny. He's one of our kitties. And I did a little bit of stenciling and some doodling around the stenciling and glued these things down. This paper was already one of the papers I chose when I made my book, and I just thought it was so pretty with the pink in the middle of this flower that I left it. You know, I really use these prompts as, you know, a way to kind of get my creativity going, and I try not to spend too long on them, but they're like a warm-up, you know, for some inspiration. This page I really love, and it says this is my happy place, and I think that it could be. So what I have done is I've covered the background with book pages and text. And then I created kind of a table here with one of the papers that I used in my neutral page. And then I just cut a cylinder for a vase. And this is a napkin. And I painted over the napkin flowers in places. So if you're worried about painting flowers, get a napkin with beautiful flowers and put that down and, you know, paint over it. And then I made this a little darker with some transparent ink. And then these dots are alcohol inks. So if you're afraid of alcohol inks, you know, the way that I sort of like tiptoed into using them was just to put little dots of them here and there at the end of a project. And it was a good way to kind of see how much came out and see how the color absorbed into the page and how it reacted with the products that I was using. So, you know, that's your tip for those alcohol inks if they scare you. And then I've got some more of this edging. I love this. I think it makes it so pretty. This page is eclectic, and what I did for this was I grabbed every little scrap that was on my desk and I dumped them all into a basket. And then I just piled them on the page. And I love the way that this turned out. And then this little tag is from the inside of a birthday card that my mother gave me. And I added some little pieces of a napkin on it for a little more interest. But this is one of my favorite pages in the book because it was everything that was laying on my desk. I mean, you can see this is a little piece from the vase on the previous page where I kind of rounded it to make it look three-dimensional. And then this sticker was a part of it. So it was all very serendipitous. You know, the piece of lace, the crushed flowers, everything. It came together really nicely. And I really am thrilled with it. So, if you haven't seen that video, see what happens when you get a basket of scraps from your desk. It's really fun. All right, this one, I'm missing one of my cards. It's torn edges, and so I'm gonna pull some things out here because what I've got is these were 3 different papers from a Daphne's Diary magazine. And you'll see I kind of cut around the grapes, and I loved this chicken. And I just tore the edges. And then I put a little bit of ink on the end of them, and then I made these pockets and tuck spots. So put that one in there. These are little prayer cards from the dollar store. And this one, I can't remember what was under here, but I covered it with some collage scraps. Sometimes I cover, you know, both sides and leave the words. Sometimes I cover the whole thing because they're really a nice weight, you know, and you get like, I don't know, 12 or 15 of them in the little box. And it's fantastic. So there's my torn edges. This is the birthday card that I used to make the tag for day 11. And what I decided for day 13, this is garden. I decided that I would add this as a tip-in because I just love this card. And I decided that it should be in my journal. So you can see the bicycle. I really didn't do a lot. This was one of those, I mean, and I don't feel like, you know, I was a quitter or I took the easy way out. These are more flowers from my garden, and I stamped some words. The thing about this is that when I was moved to create this, and some days, you know, you create something that takes 5 minutes, and some days you can work on something for 3 hours. It just kind of depends. I will say that I do have bicycles throughout my garden, and we did include in the video for day 13 pictures of my bicycles and pictures of some of the flowers that I have in my garden. We have 7 acres, and there is foliage everywhere. As a matter of fact, there are about 8 deer making their way from the back of the house to the front of the house right now. So when I look out the window, I'm seeing the deer, which is one of the reasons why we love living here. So this next one, not only is it the appearance of the third bunny, I didn't realize how much I liked this bunny, but it is also pattern. And so basically what I did again was I dug through my little basket of things that I pulled to use for this challenge. Because I find that kind of having a basket full of stuff that limits your choices also helps you to, you know, kind of get into the flow a little faster because you're not making decisions about supplies. You have a basket of stuff ready to go. And I just got into that basket, and I started playing and piling on the pattern. And I think that it's really, really cute. And I love this little bunny. This is also one of my favorites in here. I know that I said that eclectic was my favorite, but this one is my second, or tied. This was opposites. And I was trying to decide, what am I going to do for opposites? And in the video, I actually worked on this page upside down. Because it was easier for me to visualize the legs and draw and everything. So I flipped the whole book upside down and worked on it. But I'm a huge fan of Alice in Wonderland. And when I think of opposites, I was thinking how Alice, you know, everything that she ran into was completely the opposite of what things were before she fell down the rabbit hole. So I've just put all of these wonderful little Alice things and a quote from Lewis Carroll, and I just think it turned out really cute. And again, it's very simple, but it's one of my favorites. It makes me smile when I look at it, and I think that's the whole purpose of all of this. Day 16 was flow, and I dripped my copper Liquitex acrylic ink. And it worked. It was pretty effective. I will tell you that when you drip the non-metallic acrylic inks, I think that they work better. This metallic, you know, it has the metal in it. And so there were places where like the metal flakes were heavy. And it just didn't move the way that I thought that it would, but I still like it. And I put this little heart on here, and my quote, "The river of life is flowing toward us at every moment." You know, because everything is moving and everything that we do impacts the next thing. And I just thought it was a perfect opportunity to express that sentiment with this drippy page. Let's go to the next one. The next one is whimsical. And for whimsical, I have a little bunny looking out the window here. When I folded it, this was day 17. And I think I glued my doors shut. I did. Day 17. And I'm gonna come in here and see what I can cut free. I feel the glue. There we go. Okay. There we go. I decorated my doors. And I got my little bunny looking out the door. And then when you open it, oh, that just came off. My tape wasn't sticky enough. When you open it, the bunny's standing on a flower. And I've got some other bunnies here. And, you know, it's whimsical. So we needed bunnies wearing pearls and crowns, and bunnies with flowers around their ears, and some bunting, because that's just whimsy to me. And these fancy little doors. I wish I had doors like this in my garden. So that one was whimsical. And this one, oh, I love this one too. It's so hard when you go back and you haven't looked at them for days. This one was day 18, borders. And for this, I sit and cut things out in the evening, you know, while I'm watching TV or while my husband's watching TV. And I found these blue doors right here. And they're also right over here. And that was kind of my starting point for all of this. And then I just found pages that had some blue colors. And I found a few things, you know, as journalers, art journalers and artists, this fussy cut is like this nest. But for a quilter, when they say a fussy cut, you know, especially if you're doing a quilt with like 2-inch squares or 3-inch squares, the fussy cuts in a quilt are some geometric shape. So these are my fussy cuts for the border, and then I cut out this nest to put behind it. And this was just a really fun way to pick a colorway that I was inspired by, and then to put a focal point down. It's really great. I outlined each of these. I think that after you put them down, outlining them does make a difference. And I put a little bit of gesso kind of behind this nest so that it sort of brought it forward off the page. But, you know, very easy, but very, very effective. Oh, I like this one too. Sorry, I don't know if I'm supposed to be that much impressed with my own art. I just haven't seen them in a while. It's been 2 weeks. So on this day, I combined two because I decided I saw a video of a lady making a waterfall, and I decided I was going to make a waterfall. And I had just gotten a package of Tim Holtz butterflies and bugs and the stamp. And I found this feather outside. And I made these little specimen cards, and it worked. So this was nature and interactive. And I was trying to figure out how to get my feather in here, and I just punched 2 holes and slid it into a little tuck spot. And I could actually tuck something else behind that if I wanted to. So that was really great. That was day 19 and 20. And day 21 was peeking out. And I called this the dating game because I have, I'm going to try to move this so that they stay in the picture here. I have a girl, and these are stamps and then stickers. The heads are stickers from Diane Reevely and Dilutions. So these are the guys and the girl, and I called it the dating game. I haven't colored that guy's pants yet. And I made a zine. So I'm going to put her back. And I made the zine, and then I trimmed it down so that her head would be sticking out. Let me pull this back here and make sure I'm in the frame. Okay, so this guy, he tucks in this pocket. And this was one of the stickers that Diane had. You know, if you have seen her stickers, she has some funny sayings. And I loved this one, hell no. So the guy, this poor guy that has a fish face. Hell no. And this one, remember. So I guess this is the one who won. And there he is. And I just put them inside of there. And that was peeking out with my little zine. And I may go back and do a little more decorating, but for now, I love this. I will say I did Junk Journal July last year, and I have gone back a couple times and grabbed that, and I've put a sticker in, or I've colored something or done something. So it's nice. I've got a couple pages here and there if I get inspired. All right, this is day 22, and day 22 was bookshelf. So I used a few more stickers from that Diane Reevely diary sticker pack. And these are the books that I'm either reading or waiting to read. I basically went into Audible and pulled up the things I had recently uploaded. And then I found this amazing bathtub. And I decided that if I was going to have a bookshelf, that my bookshelf would be above my bathtub. So I made my little bathroom library right here. This was a console, and I just kind of cut it out and I put books on it, and I think that it turned out really great. It makes me really happy. And who doesn't want another spot for a library in their house, right? Day 23 was next, and this day is texture. And I used some texture paste, which, you know, I know may be very predictable, but I had a new jar of texture paste and I hadn't used it, and I thought this is the perfect time. That's why I love challenges like this, because it was like, okay, do something that you haven't done before that makes you uncomfortable. And that's what this did. So I did that, and I had a little piece of yarn and some mittens, and this snowy scene was out of a magazine. And I have a really nice quote here. There's freedom in contemplating nothing but a day spent in the snow. My son, who lives in Colorado, I talked to him yesterday, and he said, Mom, I'm watching snow. That's what he was doing. If you're into skiing or snowboarding right now, Colorado, the ski resorts are loving it. There's perfect snow out there. All right, day 24. Day 24 was fabric. And I think I approached this a little differently than some people may have, but it's okay. I made this whole piece of fabric my background, and I did some stitching, and I took a piece of the fabric and put it over here, and then I doodled, and I used this fabric as my inspiration for color and shape. And I decided that it really needed something else. And I don't know where the little thing is that's supposed to go in here. But that's okay. So this is a belly band. I'll just put a piece of paper in here so you could see. And I had this ribbon that was just the perfect color. And I decided, this will help you to see it. I decided to take 2 pieces of ribbon, and I just stitched them together in the middle, top and bottom, and I made a really simple belly band. And it's fabric-y, and I think it's pretty effective. So I use the same floss that I used on the edge here, and this is fabric. So a lot of times I will dig through my fabric scraps if I'm looking for a color palette or some inspiration. So, you know, go for it. All right, this page. I really like this page too. I'm very happy with this journal. Can I just tell you that I needed this journal because it was like bringing a little bit of sunshine and flowers and nature and everything that I love, like, into my space every day. I resisted the urge to put a quote on this page, okay? And I'm saying that because I know that there's somebody who's looking at it thinking, why didn't you put a quote there? It looks so empty. Why? But I often fill every space, and then I go back and fill the spaces between those spaces. And so for this one, I decided that I was going to stop. And I found these flowers in an ad, and I decided that they were my inspiration for the color. And I think that this is, you know, this is ombre. What can I say? It was a really fun page to do. And it's just some acrylic paint and some flowers from a magazine. Very, very simple. All right. This was the quote from the magazine, and another little piece of those flowers that I put on the next page because I just couldn't stop with those flowers, as you'll see in a minute, because here is day 26, translucent. And I have a quote here and some eucalyptus on vellum. And when you lift the vellum up, there is the rest of those flowers. I was sticking them everywhere. I think my husband probably woke up with them on his forehead the next day. They were just beautiful peonies, and I love peonies, and I put them everywhere. And I live in Indiana, and the state flower is peony. And so, you know, there are lots of reasons to love peonies if you're a Hoosier. So, all right, day 27, lyrics. For this one, again, I think I was having one of those sentimental moments, and this is my dad. This is a picture of my dad that is, it's probably 25 or 30 years old. But I love this picture of my dad. So this is his Bill Clinton hairdo, we used to say. So, and my dad died 3 years ago. And so when I think of song lyrics, I think of Neil Diamond. And when I hear Neil Diamond, I cry because my dad he played Neil Diamond when he was in a good mood. We always knew when he was in a good mood. And all of us in our family know the words to Neil Diamond songs, and we sing them. And so I have the song lyrics. My dad has a drink of some kind here. This is his favorite bourbon. It's called Bad Guy. This isn't the actual bottle, but it's Bad Guy. It's a small batch bourbon made in Colorado. And I miss him terribly. And that's it. For his 50th birthday, I bought him and my mother tickets to see Neil Diamond in Chicago. I was so excited, and I put the tickets inside of the new CD that had come out, and I gave him the CD, and the plastic was already unwrapped from it. I didn't shrink wrap it again, and he kind of looked at it like, did you give me a used CD? I mean, he didn't say it, but his face kind of said it. And I said, Dad, why don't you open the CD? And he said, it's a CD. I know what a CD looks like. And I said, no. I said, Dad, really? I said, you should open it. There's a really neat picture inside of the CD. And he opened it, and the tickets fell out. And it was a really great moment, because also I think that was the first time that I was like old enough, and I had a job and my own money, and I actually got to buy like my own gift for my dad without going shopping with my mom. So it was a big deal. So anyway, there's lyrics. Again, very simple. You don't have to overthink it. This one we're going to turn. This is day 28, and it is grungy. And I used some distress ink and multiple layers here that I tore and ripped. And these are my chickens. And I put them here. I didn't want to cut it down, so I turned the whole thing sideways, and I needed something up here. So I often do this. I just take book pages and I create shapes. And one of the shapes that I like to create are eggs and leaves as a second shape. But I made some leaves some eggs, and I cut them out and I stuck them here because my chickens lay all different color eggs. And in the video, my husband put a picture of one of the buckets of eggs that I get from our chickens. So if you like chickens, go back and find day 28. Day 29. This was geometry. And I'm an English teacher. You know that t-shirt that says I'm an English teacher, I don't do math? Well, that is me. I can do math, but I would prefer not to. So I found this quote. The human heart likes a little disorder in its geometry. And it's so funny because now that I'm kind of looking back at this, I cut out these geometric shapes so that I could make this city. So this is my sidewalk, right? But then I look at my quote and I think I added a fork and I added a lady and I added paintings for windows that are not symmetrical. And so that was the perfect quote, and I didn't even realize it at the time. But this is my city, and I think it turned out really, really well. And I think that I would, I thought that I would like to live in the lady, but I think I'd like to live here next to the fork. That would be where I would live, with the little flowers on the porch. So that's day 29, geometry. And here's day 30. Day 30 is travel. And we don't live too far from Chicago. And when my son had a good report card or a day off from school, we would go to Chinatown. And so you can see the gate to Chinatown back here. And this is my husband, my son, and my nephew came along with us for the day. And I made another waterfall. And you know, I kind of talked about what we did, and there's Nathan. They have a plaza where they have all the zodiacs. So Nathan is the bull. He's standing in front of his zodiac. This is me trying to take a selfie. As you can see, it's a fail. So I put it in there. Not good at taking selfies, but I look like I'm having fun. And Nathan has really orange hair. This is the place where we get boba tea. It's called Joy Yi. And Nathan had so much fun, we wore him out. And one of the things that I want to tell you, and I'm sorry, I hope that was all in the frame. This and the background here, this is all, this is money, and this was like a napkin from the store in Chinatown. And so, you know, if you have a place like that, I mean, I'm sure as we all do, we all scavenge for journal things, but this turned out really cool. And red is a color that I very rarely use. So I also thought it was kind of a good opportunity to get outside my comfort zone. So, all right, here is the last day. I'm going to flip my journal halfway the other way. 31, reflect. And so I think that what I have done these last few minutes is reflect. But I did this one with my shiny little things in the bird nest, and I don't know if you can see it, but I put some glossy accents on the bird. There, the light is catching it. And I made this nest out of all of this string and stuff, and it's just fun. And I had this washi tape that was metallic that I got with like the plaid and the stripe that I thought I don't know what I'm going to use it for. Well, I used it for leaves, and I gathered the letters for gather. In my video, I didn't do the quote during the video, but you see it at the end, because this was one where I like walked away, I took a break, and then I came back and decided that it just needed more. And so this is it. Hunt, gather, nest, linger. And so the bird is reflecting. He's reflecting on this lovely nest that he made. And as I said, I've got a few pages back here. So if I get inspired, I've got a little envelope with some tuck spots. And that's it. That's my junk journal from January of 2024. I hope you enjoyed this flip through. I apologize that it was a little long. I'm sure that if it was too long, you fast forwarded. But I want to thank you. And if you enjoyed this and you want to see more of what I did, please check out some of my other videos and consider liking or subscribing. I hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching.